Hi, welcome back to Lala Java. We've got the dynamic duo here of Marvin Silver and Heather O'Connor talking about legal issues with regard to home ownership. So
Heather's... You can never have enough attorneys in a room.
You never have enough attorneys in a room, but I'm going to hold my own. I'm just going to say that. Okay, so here's the question. Heather's in the middle of doing someone's divorce, and they die. How does all that work with Marvin and the estate plan and the divorce and who gets what and when, and how do you guys sort that out?
So my answer is easy. If they die in the middle of a divorce, we're done.
That's right. And that means that whatever the documents are that were in place are not impacted by the divorce because the divorce never happened. It may have been a filing for divorce, but until the divorce is final, it hasn't happened. So whatever the existing documents were, which probably were done when the couple was happily married, and they probably left everything to the other, that's what's going to control.
So is there a way to protect yourself, your interests in that situation? I don't know that there's an easy answer to that. You know, my wife doesn't want to be married anymore. We still own a house together. I'm worried about dying before the divorce. I don't want her to get all that. How do you work that? Do you do a will for your own part of that, or how does that work?
That's all you, because that's not our side of things.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that once a divorce is filed, there's in essence an injunction against transferring property. I don't know that there's an injunction against doing a will. Because
Have I stumped the attorneys?
Well,
I stumped the attorney. Oh
No,
okay.
put your arms back down.
This is the intersection where family law and estate law kind of meet.
Yeah.
And I don't do divorces and never would want to. I know that
Heather, this is for you to say. I don't do estate plans.
I don't.
I'll do it this afternoon if you want.
Except between the hours of 2 to 4.
Right.
No, but I think on that note, where we kind of do come into play, and what I've seen within some cases, one that I'm dealing with now, but the issue of life insurance and the beneficiary. Because once the divorce is filed, you're not supposed to change anything. So if you have beneficiaries on your retirement accounts, on your life insurance, you're supposed to keep that as your spouse. And what I've seen in some cases is somebody takes the person off, and then if they die, you have a complete horrible mess because pursuant to the laws, you know, it goes to the spouse, but now it's a mess because there's no beneficiary. And it gets even more complicated if somebody did create a will to try to surpass that.
So it's a lesson to be learned, and I'm saying this tongue in cheek. Before filing for divorce, I want to change who the beneficiaries are on my insurance. I gotta believe that a good attorney can.
He's looking for the loopholes.
No, I gotta believe that a good attorney can see right through that.
Yeah, and for us, you know, we're not only looking at from the date that the divorce is filed, but what happened in the interim when people knew that a divorce was going to be filed. And you see the same thing with people all of a sudden going out and buying things, all of a sudden wasting through money, you know, trying to hide assets. If people knew a divorce was coming, the court will often look at that as you're doing something wrong, you're going to pay for it.
So what advice do you give someone about to get married and get together? Is there any word of advice as the beans get ground up? Any last word of advice in the last?
That's your freedom going away.
The last 15 seconds before the
one
beans
word.
are done.
Prenup.
Prenup? Do you both believe in a prenup?
Yes. I do in some situations. The situations typically are second or third or subsequent marriages where the level of assets by each person are quite different or could be the same. And I've had those too. I can think of one couple, they were getting married, I believe it was the third marriage for each of them. And they actually were both professionals, and they both had their own assets. but they each had their own children by prior marriages, and they wanted to preserve, each wanted to preserve his or her respective assets for the benefit of those children. And it worked very well. It was very even-handed. And the fact is, they got married, and a year and a half later, they were getting divorced. And the divorce was very easy because there was the prenup. It made it very clear what had to happen. The roadmap was there. It was an easy divorce. And they were very professional about their marriage and the dissolution of their marriage. And there were no children of the two of them to cause emotion.
So your one word is prenup.
Prenup.
And I think
You see the humor in
there's
that.
no, I do. There is no cookie cutter solution. So
Yeah.
for some people, prenup is a good thing. For others, that's not where they want to head. And it's an individual decision that needs to be made by each person. But I do agree completely. If there's children involved that you want to make sure that you're leaving things to, you want to make sure you have a prenup, because once you get married, the rules change.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both for sitting in today and talking about the value of prenup and how thorny these situations can become. Thank you.